This is I Snap Zoe. I want to say peace and happiness to the channel for the great awakening people. Now today we're gonna start the stream off in the direction of just a minute, guys. We're gonna start. What the hell is going on? We're gonna start direction in the direction of what are the 48 laws of power, and are you a targeted individual? Now I don't know if we have some people joining, but I will put the link in the chat for those of you who would like to join the stream. Go ahead and click that link, and you will be able to enter the panel. But for those of you who understand the universal law or the powers that be, I'm pretty sure you guys understand what the 48 laws of power is. And for others, um, I'm pretty sure you know what the 48 laws of power is as well. So as one of my stature and one of your stature, men specifically, we have to understand breaking the chains of conformity is something that we all have to learn. Now, what are the powers, the 48 laws of powers, and how can it be used for success? Now, in Green Cole's lessons from the lives of powerful historical figures to distill a set of laws that you can follow to become powerful in your own life. This is coming straight from the Robert Greene's book of the 48 Laws of Power. Some of you who feel as if you guys know of the 48 powers of law, this is probably where you learned it, from Mr. Greene's book. And I taught myself about the 48 laws of power, and I was misled as well until I awakened myself. And what it is, you have a group of people that set out to do one thing. And that one thing is basically to deceive all the people. And the sooner you guys understand that, the sooner everything will become clear. Now, gang stalking is a mental health that experts see as gang stalking and as a symptom of paranoia. But the self-identified victims who insist what their experiences is real and have come together online in support groups to share their stories. Due to the big collection of a handful of Americans who claim their lives have been derailed by gang stalking, and they need help to understand what serious consequences the phenomenon has presented in their lives. So to hear a educated expert by the name of Dr. Josh Bazell, one of many physicians who believe the victims of gang stalking are experiencing dangerous delusions that could be treated by mental health professionals. So when you have a mental blockage and you're mentally objected to truth and delusions and experiencing dangerous phenomenons, you might feel as if you're self-identified with the victims who insist they have experienced real gang stalking. So I want to talk about breaking the chains of conformity. And I want to let you guys know that are tuning in, don't follow the ignorance of the crowd, but be the light of a brighter opportunity. Now, when we think of breaking the chains of conformity, many of us, if not most, like to see ourselves as independent minded, willing to stand up for what we believe, not automatically going along with the crowd, but socially needs to fit in and be a part of the group. It makes the conformity highly likely, even in situations where individuals protest that they are nonconformists. Now, I have had my experiences in social psychology, and it reveals time after time. I mean, I probably went through an experience not too long ago, and it never fails to reveal itself again and again. That people are so much more influenced by the presence of others than they expect, and that influence can be surprisingly negative that they're displaying. So some of the best known and most amazing experiments conducted in the history of behavior science were devised and carried out by the late Stanley Milgram, someone who did social experience on the people in 1970s. Now, see, they figured out that things that led participants in his studies to believe that they were delivering extremely painful, even debilitating electric shocks to other participants. In a rigged learning experiment, when a learner participant in another room signaled an incorrect response in a verbal memory task. Understand, people, the teacher participant was to press a button which would deliver to the learner a shock and progressively increase the level of the shock step by step to a maximum of 450 volts for incorrect responses. Of course, no actual shocks were ever delivered, and the learner was in cahoots with the experimenter. The point was, this teacher was only true subject in this ruse and thought that he or she was blasting the guy in the other room. So understand what I might be saying to you. In order to break the chains of conformity, You have to understand who you are, where you are, and what you are. Feeling any less responsible than that, when you are in the presence of others and they see or you see a uh potentially hazardous condition or a potentially unsafe act or a near miss, will you speak up? Or what if your boss says, don't worry about it, it's okay? Those in the community are likely to say it's not okay and they would speak up. So expect that any or all workers in their organization seeing the same conditions or behaviors would do so as well. So if you have a situation that others see as unfit, feeling less responsible is the best way to address that situation. But either of the two group phenomena will likely kick in, actually reducing the likelihood that an individual would in fact speak up. So when you think about that, I'm not going to speak up for you. That's your boss. That's your situation. That is where you are in your life. You figure it out. This is the defined definition of breaking the chains of conformity. Speak when spoken to. First, in the presence of others, any individual feels less personal responsibility. Any in the presence of others, any individual that feels less personal responsibility to act as a function of the number of the others that's present is so-called diffusion of responsibility. The more of us who are there, the less personal responsibility any of us feels. So an other factor is called pluralistic ignorance. We look around, are others taking risks seriously? Some strong willed individuals buck peer pressure and show the courage to be that stand up guy. But they are some small percentages, like it or not, because I have clearly informed you guys that most of us go along with the group, don't speak up, and we have let it slide context. Make it more likely that an accident can occur when you do it like that. So my questions is, how far will we fall? How far would you fall if you were stuck by the number of accidents that actually happen in plain view of others who do not speak up to correct the hazardous condition or stop the unsafe behavior? The invisible social psychological forces that make us fall in line are powerful indeed, but they are not worth dying for. These pressures to conform or obey when we know it's not right, to feel less personal or responsibility in some sort that is less relevant, to judge others in action as evidence that it must be okay, all can be overcome. One of the most powerful ways of inoculating people against the inertial effects of social pressure is simply to teach them about such research. Tell a class about the diffusion of responsibility and pluralistic ignorance. Then expose them to the ambiguous emergency situation just outside the class of the pluralistic ignorance they act in. Let me give you an example, such as someone lying on the ground and watch them all spring into action. In the Milgram experiment, he figured out that the most effective technique for reducing obedience was to have members of a group of teachers, specifically who were in cahoots with the experimenter, refuse at some point to go on. Having social support for disobeying the demands of the experimenter so weakened the invisible but powerful the weakened and the invisible but powerful bonds of social pressure showed that the vast majority of true subjects, as many as 90%, also refused to keep administering shocks, so they thought to the learner. So in the experiment, these experimenters actually had weakened the invisible but powerful bond of social pressure, and they used it on the vast majority to refuse and keep administering shocks. This is a form of MK Ultra. So they thought to the learner. So when you get to understand the 48 laws of power and how to break the chains of conformity, if one stands up and breaks the chains of conformity, bad outcomes can be avoided. The lesson for those of us in this community and those we support in our daily work are very clear. I want to hear from you guys, and I want us to tell each other, how can we improve? This is the important question. So I'm going to leave that topic on that note. Breaking the chains of conformity. These are some things we have to do within ourselves and come with the grips of reality, because the universal law as is at work like it's never been before. Like I said, I'm gonna post a link for the people that wants to join. If you choose to join, you are more than welcome to join. Like and share the video. I will appreciate the um the viewers. But breaking the chains of conformity. When you ask what is conformity, conformity is the type of social influence involving a change in belief, behavior, or the order to fit in with a group. This change's response is the response in real, basically involving the physical presence of others, or imagine involving the pressure of social norms or expectation. In other words, if it's not something known to you, it is unexpected. So, involving the pressure of social norms and expectations with group pressure in order to manipulate one's mind, you have to operate on a certain frequency. So those that you operate with in a negative frequency, those of your cells, those of your ions. So the only way to break out of conformity is to look within yourself and ask for peace, not to fight fire with fire. Fight it with your kundalini. So when we all understand that we all have a certain soul purpose in this life, in this existence, we will stop allowing the blind to lead the blind. Now, I would go into the laws of 48 power, but I really want to get in a serious deal with the panel. I see if some guys are gonna join. So we all understand the 48 powers of law. We all understand that if you're a man, you have to break the chains of conformity. There's nothing that we need to get to understand about the woman. We know where we come from, what the woman is, how do we treat the woman. We already know that. What we do not know is how in the divine way of man should truly be. Because the display of men that we are currently seeing and receiving, it's not men. It's not men. So I want to understand, I want to be able to provide you guys with a better understanding so you guys can be able to overstand. Because as long as we understand, there's no overstand. And that again leads us right back to breaking the chains of conformity. Now I'm gonna go ahead and end the chat off with that because I don't do this to waste my time or breath or life. So I believe 23 to 24 minutes is all I need to, break this solid truth down and allow my brothers to look and dig within themselves and just stop entertaining the leftists because we are in the days where we all are breaking out of the chains of conformity and we're applying the 48 laws of power. So if you can't fit those shoes of that what mighty warrior, please do not come and put your foot in them. If you cannot feel the shoes of a mighty warrior, do not put yourself in the center of the spotlight. And I'm going to end that on that note, guys. And to all my queens, I wish you guys peace, elevation, happiness. That's your boy All Seeing. Welcome to the All Seeing show. Tune in to our next stream. It's your boy I Snap Zoe. Link in the description. Anything you guys feel is morally highly than appreciated. That's my time, guys. Everyone, live a blessed and ever elevated lifestyle. That's my time.